Hello, everyone. Hello, welcome to this live known as Wheel of Wisdom. I would love to say hi to anyone who is joining right now, especially anyone who is joining here for the first time. So, in which part, of the world are you located in? Where are you joining us from? I see two beautiful faces floating around. I would love to know where you are from. Hi, Shubhan. Hi, welcome again. I'm so happy to see you here again. So she says, hello, Anisha, and everyone joining from Connecticut, USA. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, and I see one more person here. Would you like to introduce yourself as well? Where are you joining us from? And are you a first timer here? So is anyone joining this live for the first time? I would just love to say hi before we begin this live. And, especially if you're joining for the first time, then I would love to, share how these lives go. And if you're not, then we can, just go with the flow. And I don't need to, explain all that and everything. Um, so Shobhan says, I am really struggling to remember the pronunciation of your names. I'm so sorry. I'm very bad with names. And I know that you have, corrected me before, but I'm really like, forcing my head to remember what was your name, like what is the pronunciation of your name. If you can help me with that, it would be lovely because I would love to interact with you and also, say your name correctly. So she says, so happy. Shove on, shove on. Okay, you got it. Shove on is how it sounds. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. So Siobhan is saying, so happy and grateful to be here live with you again. Thank you so much for joining in. That is so sweet. I love, when people come back because it really gives me the message that you're finding some or other value in this. So I appreciate every single one of you who is joining. Hello, Caitlin. Welcome. So great. I'm so glad to see you here again. And I also see Leslie. Hi, Leslie. Welcome. Okay, so now that we have, said our interaction hi and hello, let's, begin with the meditation for today. Thank you for bringing in some nature, Leslie, in this place. I brought my own as well. Okay, so are you guys ready for the meditation? Type ready in the comments if you are. So, if anyone is joining us for the first time, we usually begin with a meditation to open ourselves, to settle in, to tune into that higher frequency where the thing that we want, where that wisdom resides. So this meditation help us tune into that. And then we tap into the wisdom by spinning the wheel. So are you guys ready for the meditation? Type ready in the comments. I'm waiting for the ready. Because yeah, this is kind of an energy exchange. So I love, when you guys also participate in this and you guys also put in some energy and some attention in this. Okay, so Caitlin says ready, and Siobhan also says ready. Leslie says yes. Okay, beautiful. Love you guys. Okay, so let's start. Begin by coming into a comfortable position. You can either sit, stand, or lie down. whatever your body needs right now. Making any adjustments in your position if you need to. And know that you can always move a little bit during the meditation if your body needs that. So, as you settle into this position, allow your eyes to either close completely or you can just lower your gaze like me. This is to help limit the visual distractions. So, if you are lowering your gaze, you can look down at the floor in front of you. Turning your attention inward, letting your shoulders soften, unclenching your jaw, and feeling the weight of your body supported by the ground beneath you. Now, gently bring your awareness to your heart, noticing what your heart center is carrying today. Perhaps it's a longing, perhaps joy, or maybe there is a little ache inside your heart. So, whatever is there, simply acknowledging it with kindness. There is nothing to fix or change in this moment. So often we wait for something big to change, believing that only then we will be allowed to feel peace, to feel happy, and to feel whole. But life is not only made of these big milestones, instead, it is stitched together by small moments, just like this one. Yes, this one, and this one, and this one. Your life is not waiting, but it is unfolding. right here, right now. So, to really experience it, allow yourself to repeat the following phrase with your next in breath. So, breathing in, say, I am here. And as you breathe out, repeat, this moment is enough. Breathing in, I am here. And breathing out, this moment is enough. I am here. This moment is enough. This moment is here for you. So allow yourself to meet it fully by repeating the next phrases. Breathing in, arriving here and now. Breathing out, release any pressure for this moment to be any different. Breathing in and arriving here now. Breathing out, releasing any pressure for this moment to be any different. Arriving in the here and now with each inhale and letting go of any expectations to change this moment with each exhale. Letting yourself rest in the quiet joy of enoughness, the enoughness of this moment. And now invite your heart to open just a little bit. And as your heart begins to open, allow yourself to scan your life. Scan your life not for what it's missing, but for what's here, what's already good. for what's going well in your life. Looking for moments that are beautiful just the way they are. So maybe what is already good in your life is the warmth of the sunlight, or maybe the sound of laughter, or even the presence of someone that you care. Or perhaps it's a small ritual that grounds you. So, scanning your life for what is going well and what you already have. Let these small gifts of life rise to the surface of your awareness. Feel what it is like to have them, to experience that. Feeling the enoughness of having it, that just that is enough for you to be happy, to be at peace, and even to be in love with life. Breathing them in, letting them gently settle in your heart. Can you see that even in the midst of longing for more, there is so much to love? There is so much that you already have. You don't have to wait for a perfect life or a perfect future to love your life as it is right now. There is beauty right here. There is magic in the ordinary. You are alive. You are breathing. And for now, that is enough. So, to let this meditation sink in deeper, repeat after me. I don't have to wait for anything to be happy. I don't have to do anything to earn peace. I give myself permission to cherish the life just as it is. As we reach the end of this meditation, allow yourself to take a deep breath in, soaking in the gratitude and the love that you have for life. And as you exhale, letting go of this practice, knowing that you will always carry all of this love within your heart as you continue to move through life. You will allow life to touch your heart, to break it open so that you can embrace those moments in your life that brings you joy and peace and satisfaction. So whenever you are ready, you can gently begin to come back by wiggling your toes and your fingers, moving your body a little bit and opening your eyes, connecting back with the environment around you. If you feel like you can hydrate yourself or maybe stretch a little bit, whatever your body needs right now. If you feel called to, you can share about your experience of the meditation in the comments. And if you don't feel like typing, then you can just press the heart to let me know that you resonated with the practice. And I see some new people joining in. So, welcome everyone. Thank you for tuning in. And I want to let you know that we just began this live 25 minutes ago. And we have done just one part of this live, which is the meditation to tune ourselves into the higher wisdom. And next, we are going to tune into that wisdom. So, we are going to spin the wheel of wisdom and, yeah, do some readings. Thank you for the hearts. I appreciate that. Thank you for letting me know that you like the practice. So before we spin the wheel and, tap into the wisdom, I want to ask you guys, is there anything specific that you would like to receive some guidance on? So you can declare that or share that with me in the comments. You don't need to go like very specific. You can just share the general theme of it, or maybe or perhaps the area of life in which you are struggling, or you would like to gain some clarity on, or guidance on, some direction on. So yeah, share that in the comments, and yeah, just declare it to the universe, to God, to higher self, to consciousness, to whatever you believe in. So yeah, share what is it that you would like to receive some guidance on. Caitlin says the prompt to reflect on gratitude has been coming up a lot for me recently. That was beautiful to reflect on. What a lovely headspace I am in now. That is amazing, Caitlin. That all of these signals are just pointing you to see what is already here and to appreciate it and to know that that is enough and you don't need anything more to be whole, to be complete, to be happy, to be blissful, to be whatever you want to be. So thank you so much for sharing that. And yeah, I am glad that you found, that space lovely in which you could reflect on those things that you're grateful for. Caitlin says, I'm open to whatever messages come through today. Okay, beautiful. And yeah, you can do that if you have nothing specific, then you can just declare that I am open to receive some guidance for today or maybe for this week. So, whatever you want, some guidance on, you can share that in the comment. And I will now introduce you guys to the Wheel of Wisdom. So, for anyone who is joining us for the first time, by the way, is there anyone who is joining us for the first time? I would love to know your name. I would love to see you. So, is there anyone who is joining us for the first time? Because I see so many familiar faces here, and I'm so grateful to see you all coming back. Yeah, it just fills my heart with joy. Okay, it seems like everyone here knows the format and everything. They have been before. They have been here before. Okay. So, in that case, let's, tap into the wisdom. Let's spin the wheel and see what book wants to come through. Nishant says, love the message that we can be joyous right now. Nothing more is required. Thank you so much for affirming that again in the comments, Nishant. I'm glad that, that part resonated with you. That message, that essence of the meditation got through you and touched your heart in some way. So let's tap in. So the book that came up for today is The Untethered Soul by Michael A. Singer. Wow. I think this was I think this was kind of the first spiritual book that I ever read, and it was just amazing. It just blew my mind, I think the first or second chapter only after reading that I was just in awe. So I'm so happy that this came up and I'm really excited that what message is going to come, from this book today. Caitlin says, yes, those mantra or affirmations at the end were powerful. Thank you for sharing that, Caitlin. I'm glad that the affirmations resonated with you and they just, doubled the impact of meditation. And you had those statements to carry with you as you move on with your day after this live. So you can go back to those affirmations and repeat them whenever you find yourself, stuck in that thinking that if only I have that, or I just need to achieve that and then everything will be okay. Yeah, so when you feel that kind of grasping or longing, then you can remind yourself and repeat those statements. And not only Caitlin, everyone here. Okay, so let's see what wants to come through from this beautiful book. Caitlin says, "Oh boy, I just looked it up and there's a horse on the cover. I may need to read this one." Oh, you love horses? Is that so? That is beautiful. Yeah, there is a cover. I think there's, as far as I remember, the cover it is like blue, and then there is a horse, and there's a beach, something like this. As far as I remember, the cover. It has been a long time, but yeah, it is kind of a peaceful cover. Okay, let me show it to you guys then. Now that we talked about it. So I am like not opening the original book or something. What I do is that I open my notes from that book. So as I was reading some of these books, I was noting down some of the powerful insights, the transformational practices from these book. So yeah, so I just have, everything there in one place. So let me show you the cover. Yeah. So this is kind of the cover. I really find this particular shade of the blue very, very peaceful. Okay, now let's dive in. Okay, people like the cover. So, what I'm going to do next is that I'm going to set an intention for all of us and then close my eyes and scroll through the book as I tune into my intuition. And I'm going to stop at a particular paragraph that I feel like this is something that all of us here needs to hear. And yeah, and we're going to go through that. So may everyone present here receive something from this book that brings a moment of joy to their mind, that brings a smile to their face, and that brings a relief to their heart. So let's dive in. Okay, let's see what came up. Hmm. The author says, we normally attempt to solve our inner disturbances by protecting ourselves. Real transformation begins when you embrace your problems as agents for growth. In order to understand how this process works, let's examine the following situation. Imagine that you have a thorn in your arm that directly touches a nerve. When the thorn is touched, it's very painful because it hurts so much. The thorn is a serious problem. It's difficult to sleep because you roll over on it. It's hard to get close to people because they might touch it. It makes your daily life very difficult. You can't even go for a walk in the woods because you might brush the thorn against the branches. This thorn is a constant source of disturbance. And to solve the problem, you only have two choices. The first choice is to look at your situation and decide that since it's so disturbing when things touch the thorn, you need to make sure nothing touches it. The second choice is to decide that since it's so disturbing when things touch the thorn, when things touch the thorn, you need to take it out. Believe it or not, the effects of the choice you make will determine the course of the rest of your life. This is one of the core level structural decisions that lay the foundation for your future. Let's begin with the first choice and explore how it affects your life. If you don't solve the root cause of the problem, but instead attempt to protect yourself from the problem, it ends up running your life. You actually feel that because you have minimized the pain of the problem, you have solved the problem, but it is not solved. All you did was devote your life to avoid it. But in the case of the human heart, we have more than one thorn. We have sensitivities about loneliness, about rejection, about about physical appearance, and about our mental prowess and about our mental prowess. You have the same two choices with these inner thorns as you did with the thorn in your arm. Surely it was obvious that you would have been much better, that you would have been much better off taking out that thorn. There is no reason to spend your life protecting the thorn from getting touched when you can just remove it. The same is true with your inner thorn. If you choose to keep them without being disturbed by them, you must modify your life to avoid the situation that would stir them up. You can look deep within yourself to the core of your being and decide that you don't want the weakest part of you running your life. I loved that metaphor of comparing, those hurts in our heart, those thorns in our heart, to actually seeing that how illogical it might seem, to protect them and to design our whole life in a way that, you know, those thorns don't get touched, meaning those hurts don't get triggered. When we look at it like, a thorn that is stuck in our arm, and we arrange our whole life in a way that, you know, that thorn is not touched again, because now that pain is deciding that pain is governing your life, that pain is making the choices, and your life is not being led by what you desire but what you want to avoid. And what you want to avoid are all those thorns, inner thorns, are all those hurts, and you don't want them triggered. So whether it is rejection or whether it is, loneliness, whether it is something else. And, that a very, very clear example that comes into my mind is, especially for those people who struggles with anxiety. So this is just one example. So there's this thing that triggers anxiety within them, so they try to avoid it. So we have like this all of this vibrant life, and we decide that, for some reason, maybe because of a past experience, this particular thing triggers anxiety. So maybe this is like, speaking on a stage, right? So we kind of eliminate that. Right now we are avoiding it so that, that inner, that thorn is not triggered when we move into that situation that, usually triggers that. So we avoid that, and it is, and it actually do not remain specific to that. So that anxiety becomes generalized to many other things, many other areas of your life. So maybe you avoided that, maybe you avoided, performing on a stage, and now you are at your work, and now you cannot even, do presentations because you have to be at the center spot. So you avoid that, and you take a job that that involves not presenting, not being the center of attention in that way. So earlier, maybe your dream was to, be a dancer or something, and you avoided that because being on the stage triggered anxiety when you were little, and you feel like you are going to have a panic attack, so you avoid that. And then you ended up in a job, and now your job involves presenting, stuff to the clients or things, and now you avoid that because that triggers anxiety, so you try to take a job that do not involves that, so maybe a lower position. And then and then it actually seeps into every area of your life, and it is not limited. And that is actually the case, with people with anxiety disorder, that it is not very specific. It actually tend to seep in, and then they try to design their life in a way that that is not triggered, that feeling is not triggered of anxiety, of feeling that you cannot handle things or whatever it is, specific to that person. And that, and you design your whole life in a way that you are able to avoid any trigger that is going to, deal with this inner thorn that gets triggered. And in that way, we limit our life by avoiding all of those things. And we had all of this space, and we end up living in this much space because this triggers anxiety, this triggers sadness, this triggers that and that and that. So we, as author says, that we don't have just one inner thorn, we have all of these different inner thorns. And of course, like some people might relate with rejection, right? So if we take another example of rejection, so maybe they have this fear of rejection within them, and that is their inner thorn. So they may be like a girl or like a boy, whoever it is. So they may be like someone, and they are not able to speak up. They are not able to ask them out, and they know that they feel that spark in everything, and they are not able to ask that person out on a date or something because they have this fear that what if I get rejected? It would be so painful. It would be so humiliating, so embarrassing. And, and this would prove that, I am not lovable and all of those things. So we let go of that opportunity. We let go of, that desire. And, we did that so that we can avoid feeling rejected. And then maybe, um, you pass out college and you are trying to get jobs, you're trying to search for jobs, but you are so anxious and you are so worried, and you really don't feel like applying on too many jobs. You really read every single detail of the job description to see that it fits you, because you feel like, if it don't, then you would be rejected, and you don't want to feel rejected. And so you don't apply for, all of these different jobs that you might have maybe adapted, you might have learned, or you know, you might have been that person that they really needed. So instead of applying to all these different jobs, you just applied to two or three jobs, and you limited your opportunity so that you don't get, rejected. You didn't apply to your dream company because you thought that you are not enough, because you don't want to feel rejected. And hence you ended up applying these only in these two, three companies, and that are not your dream company, but you feel like they would take you. So in this way, we keep on, so no matter what that inner thorn is, if we design our life in a way that is meant, that is, the purpose of that life that we are designing is to avoid getting triggered, is to avoid that inner thorn to be touched by life experience, then our life is going to be very limited, and our experience of life is going to be very limited, and hence our perception of life is going to continue whatever we have formed, and our perception of our own selves is going to continue because we are not experimenting, we are not letting life in, and yeah, and all that vibrancy and beauty is gone, and we are just limited to this circle instead of this whole life that we have. Okay, so we have a comment. I've been speaking on and on. Yeah. Caitlin says, I can relate to the rejection I almost shared earlier about gratitude. So, working on gratitude, it seems to have been one of the things helping strengthen and reinforce my chakras, unblocking and coming into myself. I was able to chime in on a conversation and share my opinion and ask for help all at once. Congratulations, Caitlin, for speaking up, for, letting your voice be heard in that manner. I'm happy for you. Yeah, and Caitlin says, and it felt great, and I was responded to positively. So I really held on to that whole series of experience. Yeah, it is so important to, to hold on to those things that negate your limiting beliefs, to hold on to those experiences, to those evidences. Caitlin says, no, your flow was great. I was so invested. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, so it just comes in a flow and then I'm like, yeah, Anisha, you have been talking a lot. But thank you for sharing that. It makes me feel heard. Okay, so yeah, that was our first reading for today. And the suggestion of author is to, and not the author, but also if you see it at it logically, is to remove that thorn, instead of trying to build your whole life in a manner to avoid it, to avoid that thorn being touched, to avoid being triggered, work on it and, remove that thing, that thorn within you, that fear, that rejection, sorry, that fear, or that limiting belief, or whatever it is. So, yeah, that is the suggestion of the author for all of us. Okay, so before we move on to the next reading, um, okay, no, maybe let's do one more reading. Yeah, so let's see. Okay, would you guys like me? Would you guys like me to read from the same book, or should I spin the wheel again and choose a different book? What do you guys want? Same book or a different book? Nishan says, I see it as someone else is on love with those things I'm afraid of. So I can also be able to do that if I work on it. Wow, that is beautiful. Yeah, thank you for sharing that insight, that someone else is doing that, and so can I. And even someone else maybe desire that, someone else loves that thing that I'm afraid of. And yeah, let's give it a try. Maybe I can work on it and see, what what's the big deal? What just gives them joy about this thing? Yeah, that is a pretty unique perspective, Nishan, that you came up with. Thank you for sharing. Okay, Robin says same book. Other people, would you guys like to, vote in? Would you like me to read from the same book, or would you guys like me to read from a different book? Okay, Caitlin says I like this book. Okay, so we have two votes for this book then. Let's go with this one. Let's see. So the author says clinging creates the bricks and mortar with which we build a conceptual self. In the midst of vast inner space, using nothing but the vapor of thoughts, you created a structure of apparent solidity to rest upon. You are the one who was lost, scared, and confused because you focus your awareness away from your awareness of self. In this panic, in this lost state, you learn to cling and hold on to the thoughts and emotions that were passing before you. You use them to build a personality, a persona, a self concept, a self concept that would allow you to define yourself. Awareness rested itself on the objects it was aware of and called it home. Because you have this model of who you are, it is easier to know how to act, how to make decisions, and how to relate to the outside world. If you dare to look, you will see that you live your entire life based on the model you built around yourself. Basically, you attempt to create a sense of stability and steadiness inside. This generates a false but welcomed sense of security. You also want the people around you to have done the same thing. You want people to be steady enough so that you can predict their behavior. If they aren't, it disturbs you. It's important to realize that it's not just up to you what thoughts you cling to and what person you create. Society has a lot to say about this. So it's interesting that, this paragraph dove deeper into what we just covered in terms of how those inner thorns, came to be in the first place. So, as we were born, we were placed in this world, and our mind was trying to make sense of everything. Our mind was trying to make a model, a mental model of the world around us, of how the world is, of how other people are, or and of how we are, to define it, to conceptualize all of this. And it had like all of this information around it, it had all of this happening around it. And at that moment, when you were a child, whatever thought was going on in your head, became to be your belief. It could be a belief about yourself, about other people, about the world. So, for example, if your parents were going through like fighting and everything, and they were in the process of getting a divorce when you were a child, then you were trying to make sense of all of it. And usually, um, in the children's stage, our mind is not that developed to understand how to understand the perception of other people. So we are very egocentric, meaning that we think of things in relation to ourselves. So whatever was going on, you were trying to make sense of it. And the way that, underdeveloped mind of yours as a child was trying to make sense of it was linking everything to yourself. So if your parents were separating and they were happy before, or they seemed to be happy before, at least in the photos, maybe before, then, you know, at that time, if your mind, if in trying to make sense of all of it, in relation to yourself, your mind threw a thought that maybe it is because of me. Maybe I am not a good child. Maybe I am the reason, why they are fighting, or maybe they don't love me. Maybe they don't like me, and that's why they're fighting. Because maybe you observe something that they were fighting about, and it was in relation to you. Like your toys were here and there, and your mom and dad were fighting about it, and you had a thought that, um, that I am the problem. They don't like me, I am the reason why they're fighting so much. I am unlovable. I am not loved by them. So if that was a thought, as I said, that thought is more likely to be about yourself. That reason, whatever is happening, you will try to make sense of it in relation to yourself, because that's how a child minds work. As the mind develops, then it understands to think of things or experiencing in terms of others' perspective, to think of something other than themselves. So maybe that that thought became a belief, when it got repeated maybe a few more times, or maybe, so there are two ways like a belief is formed. Either, it was a one-time thought, a one-time experience, a one-time event, and it was so emotionally charged, it was too much. And if it is so charged with emotions, then it really impacts you and it becomes a core belief of yours. Or maybe that thought, what got repeated at multiple instances, and then it, got soaked into yourself and became a core belief of yourself. So that's what author mentions, that the society influences you. Society has a lot to say about it. And and why we did again all of this is, as the author mentioned, that, we were not able to find the real self. We were just dropped into this world, and we are trying to make sense of it. And what what would you do, if you are just thrown into the darkness? You would try to grasp onto something, right? You want some steadiness, you want some certainty, you want to grasp onto something. If there is all that is, darkness around you, then you would try to grasp onto something. So your inner world was like that, and you were trying to make sense of it, and you were trying to grasp onto something. And in that, you created a whole conceptualized self of who you are, what your personality is, what defines you. And now that those beliefs or those model or that conceptualized self is running your life as it is right now in this current moment. And it was there for a reason, it helped you make sense of it, or it might have served some other purpose. But right now, what we call limiting beliefs is that So a belief becomes limiting when, it it do not serve us any longer. It hinders us from our growth. It hinders us from flourishing, from thriving in this life, in our current life. Maybe it served a purpose in the past, but now it is not, and hence, it is limiting you. Hence, this self that you have created, that I'm an introvert, I'm a shy person, maybe, or I am, very loud, whatever it is. So you created that, and then that is running your life. And that is why we need to look back at these thorns, or at these, whatever is happening inside of us, and choose that what we want to continue. And what we want to continue is what is serving us. So yeah, that is something that is coming up for me. And yeah, and if you would like some guidance on working with that, or maybe something else, then I have a question to, not a question, but before that, if you want to identify these beliefs, if you want to identify what all is running your life, behind the conscious, in the subconscious, w- what are those beliefs that you hold about yourself that might be limiting you? What is that self that you have created? So that is what is called ego in, certain spiritual texts. Like, ego means that false sense of self, that sense of self that we have conceptualized but we are not. So yeah, so if you would like, would you like to know about your limiting beliefs? Would you like me to share the name of the course? I have like a course on this. Coincidentally. So, yeah, I have like a course on this to help you identify your limiting beliefs. So, would you like me to name that? If you are interested, would you like me to tell you? You can say yes in the comments. And yeah, if no one is interested, then I won't mention it. Let me drink some water. And you can also share, what came up for you as I was reading that paragraph, or as I was, sharing what was coming for me. Hmm. Okay, it seems like no one is interested to identify, to learn about how to identify your limiting beliefs. That's okay. Okay, so I think our time is also kind of up for this live, but before we do that, I want to, like, make some announcements. Especially for anyone who is joining here for the first time. So I want to ask that I want to ask this question to all the women's present here, that would you be interested in a free 1 hour coaching session with me? So, would you be interested in having like a powerful conversation around whatever you need help with, whatever you would like some guidance on, support on, some coaching on? So, if you're interested, you can mention in the comment. And if you are not, then that's okay. And also, like, if you are not a woman, but maybe you know of a woman who might be interested in, a powerful coaching session with me, to experience coaching, life coaching with me, then you can mention that in the comments as well. And yeah, you can send her my way if, you think she might be interested in that. I see some new people joining here. So I would repeat my question before moving on. So I want to ask any women that is present here, that would you be interested in a free 1 hour coaching session with me, to have a powerful conversation with me, to experience coaching with me? Okay, I have a few hearts. So maybe if you are shy and if you are interested, then you can message me on Insight Timer that Anisha I would like to, grab onto this gift because yeah, recently only I started giving out this gift of a powerful coaching session with me. And if you do decide to grab onto this gift, I can promise you one thing that you're going to leave with at least one powerful insight from that session because that has been the case with every single woman that I've worked with so far. So if you're interested, you can reach out via message on Insight Timer. Let me show you how to message in case, you don't know. Thank you so much, Leslie. Leslie says, so worth your invested time. Thank you so much for recommending that session. Thank you. Yeah, so how you can message me is that you can go to my profile. If you're already following me, you would see the follow button has been converted into donate button and above it three dots appear. So you can click on the three dots, go to message teacher, and yeah, message me that you would like to, you would be interested in working with me. You would like to have that powerful coaching session. Now, the second announcement is Leslie says, and no obligation other than time. Yeah, it is a completely, free session, no strings attached. So if you would like that, I would be happy to assist you in your journey in some way. And thank you, Leslie, so much. Thank you. I'm grateful. Okay, so yeah, my second announcement was that this is getting recorded and everything. So if you would like to access the video of it, like maybe you missed the meditation that we did initially, which was about like letting that truth in that this moment is enough and recognizing, the beautiful things in your life. So if you would like to access that meditation in case you joined late, or if you would like to access any of the sessions of Wheel of Wisdom, because this is our 44th session so far. And yeah, I have like created a whole playlist of all the sessions there. And why I did that is because maybe I'm not going live, but you would like to receive some guidance, from your higher self, from God, universe, angels, whatever you believe in. So if you would like to do that, then what you can do is that you can just open that playlist and watch that, but you can open that playlist, choose a number, tune into your intuition, choose a number between 1 to 44, and whatever number comes through, just watch that video knowing that that guidance will come to you, that wisdom will come to you. So all you need to do is to be open and receptive, and that's all. So the way to access that is you can go to my about to my profile in the about section and you can scroll down and you will see a link tree there. So in that you will see Wheel of Wisdom replay and you can access all of the video recordings of this up until now. Hello Calvin, hello, welcome. I'm happy to see you here, I'm glad that this was going on in your life and you decided to tune into the wisdom. And I hope that you received something of value, from this live. Because I did see your amazing face, floating around for a while. So I hope that you got something from this. Leslie says 44 may indicate that you are on the right path, supported by spiritual forces that encourage resilience and persistence. It serves as a reminder that hard work and dedication will leave tangible results. The number 44 is considered a divine message of protection and encouragement. Wow, thank you so much, Leslie, for sharing that beautiful, meaning of this because this is our 44th session. Thank you so much for, bringing all this energy and yeah, going through all this effort to type this. I so appreciate this and I so appreciate your presence and every single one of you. So thank you for tuning in and yeah, coming to my announcements. So yeah, just two more announcements. So yeah, as I mentioned, this is getting video recorded, but although like the video recordings take 1 hour to get uploaded, so if you want immediate access to the readings that we have done, then you can join my group on Insight Timer, a little community of my own on Insight Timer. And the name of this community is Wonderful Beings. So you can either search for it or you can, like, go to my profile again. And yeah, by the way, this is like the latest track of mine that got released, I think 1 or 2 days ago. So so what I do is that in each Wheel of Wisdom live, we usually do one meditation at least. So I have edited all those and I'm now releasing them on Insight Timer, um like with a 2 or 3 day interval so that you get access to all those meditation that was done in this beautiful space. So this is the meditation from our second live as far as I remember. And yeah, we have like the previous ones that got released were these. So if you would like, you can check them out. And yeah, I would love to hear your experience of them. So coming back to the group. So when you scroll all the way down, you will see my group, Wonderful Beings. And yeah, if you would like to get like immediate access after the live in like 5 minutes or so, I post all the readings there. So you can do that. And let's see. Okay, we have a comment. Leslie says, I looked it up. My neighbor has her car license tag with the number 44 on it. Planet numerology, FYI. Okay, okay, okay. That is beautiful. Lot of 44s around you, Leslie. A message for you indeed, for sure. Okay, so so that's it for today's live. And if you enjoyed this, if you found something of value, and if you would like to support me in, continuing to do these offerings, continuing to either, do this day by day, come up for you and yeah, hold the space for you day by day, or to offer those, free gifted session to women. If you would like to support me in doing so, you can make a donation of whatever you feel called to. And yeah, I am so happy to have each and every one of you who tuned in. Thank you so much. I appreciate your presence, your messages, love the interaction, the hearts that you pressed, and the love that you give me, and the love that you give this space. So thank you for tuning in. That's all for today. Namaste.